Bow Builder's Book. I've made 3 bows in my life. This was my best. Made of vine maple. The bowstring is waxed nylon. And especially like the grip. The grip fits my palm perfectly because I just kept grabbing it, and like as little teeny bits needed to come off, I would slowly take them off until the fit was perfect. So I've been trying to do this video. I've tried it a couple different times. How to be happy. It seems like it's such a fundamental principle, and I see so many people want to know what's the shortcut. And so the bow builder's book here that I have, like, I had this odd experience. I took this class building bows, and I watched everybody accelerate right past me. My bow was like halfway done when people were like putting the finishing touches on their bow. Towards the end of the classes, I was the only one that still had a bow. Everyone else's bow had broken. Everyone was going so fast, like, taking the wood off so quickly and bending it like crazy, and like, now let's take it out and shoot it, and snap. That was 9 years ago. Their bow didn't even make it like a month, and my bow's on its 9th year, and eventually it's gonna break. But it was such incremental slices taken off the wood at all times. Very, very gentle with it. It took a lot of time. It took the time the class allotted, and yet because I took the entire time to do it, invested that entire thing, and didn't try to rush or look for shortcuts, mine was the only bow that finished the class. That is just how to be happy. That is just what life is like. And so many people are thinking, what shortcut should I take? And there are shortcuts. Even for happiness, like during some miserable times in my life, I remember like how great it was. I'd go down to my local bar, and I'd always have less beers than I could afford to buy, and I'd always tip really good. And I'd walk into the bar, and like all the bartenders there, especially if there was a bunch, it was great. They'd all smile at me and sometimes shout my name out, which like caught me like a little off guard. Like I didn't want it to be that much, but it was such an inflating thing. Like I'd feel deflated from the day, and I'd walk in there and they would reinflate me. They're excited to see me. They don't know who I am. They just like that I tip good. And I'm always polite. I bust my own table. I'm a decent guy. Malt liquor. There's tons of things you could do like that. I won't go into the list, but essentially though, I didn't want any shortcuts. I didn't want any shortcuts with this bow, and I didn't want any shortcuts out of life. When times got hard, I gave up on my one job and went to 3 jobs, just because like if anything happened to 2 jobs, I'd have that one job. It's like I didn't want to take any chances. I'd work even harder. I gave up any idea of free time and weekends, and did everything I could, and like kept money back. One of my friends, this back when pot was illegal here in Oregon, one of my friends was talking about like how he can't get ahead, and I'm like, every time I see you, you're out drinking at the bar. That's really, really expensive. And also, every time I see you, you're high. And I remember his like how he thought it was odd that like I'm like, how much does an ounce of weed cost? And he told me, and I'm like, and I looked up in the paper, and I'm like, this is what an ounce of gold costs. How long have you been smoking? He's like, 8 years. And I'm like, all right, you've been paying more for weed and have nothing to show for it. For 8 years, do you know how much money you'd have if you had been buying that many ounces a year in gold? And like his question was like, how do you know that where the price of gold is listed? His eye is not on the prize. And that entire time, oh, that was the same time I went on my cross-country trip. I saved up for 2 years and took 4 months off of work and rode my bike across the United States. I took my money And instead of giving it away to bars, little ephemeral shortcuts to happiness, things that come and go, that don't last, and invest it in a 4-month trip that I'll think about the rest of my life as one of the best things I've ever done. I've had vehicles since before I was legal to drive, actually. Before I got my learner's permit, I actually owned a vehicle. And I had a rule of thumb that I'd never spend more than $800, because first off, that was how much money I had to begin with. And then something went wrong. They're like, the fuel pump went dead. It's going to be $1,000. I'm like, okay, well, just leave that out in the front of the lot, and I'm going to have it towed away. I donated it. For the longest time, I never spent more than $800 on a vehicle. And one of the Toyota Corollas I bought lasted 5 years because I invested just enough money to get me what I needed, held just enough back so that when that died, 6 months from now, 5 years from now, I'd replace it with another $800 vehicle. Might last 6 months. It didn't matter. I had that money pulled aside because I sacrificed going out and buying weed or going out to the bars 5 nights a week or whatnot. You want to be happy. It's little teeny bits at a time over a long period of time that build up who you are as a person and what you're capable of, until you're capable of buying this fucking gorgeous house I live in. And who knows what it's going to be after this, because I'm the same way. Someone pointed out to me that I have a phone that costs $20. Like, you went through, like, a lifetime of poverty and you still don't spend more than $20 on a phone. I'm like, who knows what I'm going to have after this house? My phone makes phone calls. My laptop, I have the internet at my home, my laptop makes video phone calls. It's like the future. It's like Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy used to talk to people on his watch. It'd be a picture of people, if you don't know who Dick Tracy is. Who knows what I'll have after this? Maybe the Ponderosa, man. Maybe like 1,000 acres of desert land, and who knows what I'll be doing on it. Something fucking epic. My last vehicle, so all my vehicles have been cheap up until now, until I felt like I was ready, and confident. And this one cost me, I think it was like $8,000. Really nice cargo van, strong like bull. And who knows after this? Like, when this thing breaks down, I'll donate that. And I might invest in like a really sweet RV or like one of those Sprinter vans, and I'll invest my time in building up a bedroom dining room inside it. All I know is happiness takes hard work. Happiness is not slicing off this whole thing at once. Happiness is working this down a tiny sliver at a time until you have something that flexes, and as it flexes, you could feel all the grains move and sense any change and any discontinuity and respond to it. Trying to rush past that is insensitive, and that's how your life should be. That's how happiness should be attained, with as much sensitivity as possible and responding to very small stimuli until you get exactly what you were hoping for. And you keep trying until you get exactly what you were hoping for. And that's what you should be. That you should never settle for anything less. Why would you? Think you're going to get like 2 tries at life?